Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing a tag video because I was tagged by Melinda over at Web of Stories to do the currently reading tag. This tag was originally created by Charlie Ray back in 2015, but it seems like it's getting a resurgence of late because I've seen some people doing this tag. This is a tag all about your reading habits and not about what you're currently reading, what I first thought it would be, but I still wanted to talk about what I'm currently reading. So I'll start with that first. I'm reading two books at the moment. The first one I'm listening to on audio, and that is Candor and the Unicorn Thief by A.J. Steadman or A.F. Steadman. I can't remember now. I picked this up because I saw Gemma over at Gem of Books talk about this book in her favorite books of the year so far video, I think. This is a middle grade fantasy book about a boy named Skandar, and he wants to be a unicorn rider. Unicorns in this world are quite wild and scary and just a little bit horrible. This is like a proper chosen one fantasy story. Skandar is different from the rest and he's trying to find out why that is and what his path is in the story. It's very much like going to a new environment, learning about this new magic system. It's kind of like a school environment and he meets new friends and all that. So obviously very reminiscent of a lot of other chosen one fantasy middle grade stories. But I'm enjoying it a lot. It's just a great, fun, adventurous read. And I'm having a good time with it. And then the other book I'm reading is The Last Quarter of the Moon by Qi Xiang. And this is translated from the Chinese by Bruce Humes. And this is about an elderly woman, and she is sort of reflecting back on her life. She is part of the Evensky tribe, which is, I believe, like an indigenous tribe of northern China, and they live in an area that's very close to the border with Russia. And the first part is very much her childhood, and she describes just her daily life. Like the other people in her tribe, they are reindeer herders, and yeah, she talks about how they take care of the reindeer, how they trade with other tribes and other people, their different rituals surrounding things like death and birth, and I'm really enjoying this so far. I think if you love nature writing in your books, then you would definitely enjoy this. I finished the first part, which is about her childhood, and I think we're gonna move on sort of with her throughout her life, so the next part will be when she's a little bit older, but yeah, the first part at least I really enjoyed. So that was what I am currently reading. Now let's get into the actual questions of the tag. The first question is, how many books do you read at once? I'd say usually two. Like right now I'm listening to an audiobook and I'm reading a print book, and that's what I usually have going on. Sometimes I'll have a third book, for example, if I'm like reading short stories or essays, you know, if I'm reading like a story a day, or if I'm doing a buddy read time, you know, we read a few chapters a day, or maybe like non-fiction. But I'll usually have like one main book on the go and an audiobook and then maybe something else. Question number 2 is, if you're reading more than one book at a time, how do you decide to switch to reading between the books? Well, print books I obviously read when I'm sitting down, and then audiobooks I'll read when I'm on the go, whether that is just doing chores inside the house, or maybe if I am like going on a walk around the block or something. If I have more print books on the go, I'll usually switch around like every other chapter, or you know, a certain amount of pages. Sometimes I'll have one book that I only read on the weekends, or I have one book that I have at home on my nightstand, or one that I have on the go. So yeah, it very much depends on the book. I don't really have any rules for this. Question number 3 is, do you ever switch bookmarks while you partway through a book? Yes, I do, and that is usually because my bookmark falls down and like slides under the sofa, so I can't find it, or it gets tucked into the side of the sofa, so then I'll just grab a new one. I have like a cup with bookmarks on my bookshelves, so if for some reason I can't find my bookmark anymore, I'll grab a new one from there. Number 4 is, where do you keep the book you are currently reading? I do most of my reading on the sofa, so usually it's like on the coffee table or on the sofa or somewhere on the floor around the sofa. Question number 5 is, what time of the day do you spend the most time reading? And on weekdays, when I'm working, I read mostly in like early evening, just after dinner time. Sometimes I'll read a bit before I go to work, but usually I just watch YouTube videos then, and I don't really read before bed because then I'll just fall asleep. So yeah, usually like early evening. On the weekends I'll read a bit more sort of throughout the day. I love going for a coffee in the morning and then bring a book with me. But yeah, that just sort of depends more on what I've got going on in the day, you know, when I have the time to sit down and read. Question number 6 is, how long do you typically read in one go? For the duration of one cup of tea. Usually when I want to like settle down with a book to read, I'll make a cup of tea as well, usually in this mug, and that means I'll read for about half an hour to 45 minutes. This mug keeps my tea warm pretty well because of the knitting. In the weekend I've been trying to get like a full hour of reading in one go, just because I like want to train myself a bit more to have the attention span to read for an hour, because I am finding that quite difficult sometimes. Like as a child I used to read for like hours and hours on end, but I have found that you know, now we are just so easily distracted by, well, mainly computers and phones, that I've been making a point of actually sitting down, putting away my phone and read for at least an hour on an end, just to sort of train myself to be able to read for longer. And I've been really enjoying that. Question number 7 is, do you read hardcover books with the dust jacket off or on? And I think everyone says off on this one. I think mainly because, you know, the dust jacket might slide up a little bit up or down and then the edges get squashed, which just annoys me. Number 8 is, what position do you mainly use to read? Definitely sitting up, like sitting up with my legs curled under, or like my legs elevated on another chair or something. I'm not very good at lying down and reading, or reclining and reading, because I'm very much like an old-fashioned doll. You know, when I lie down my eyes just close. Like I rarely read just before bed because I'm finding it very difficult to keep my eyes open when I am horizontal. So yeah, just sort of sitting up on a chair, comfy chairs, but you know, still sitting up. Number 9 is, do you take the book you're currently reading everywhere you go? No, but if there's any chance of any waiting time of some sorts, then I will. So basically anytime I'm taking public transport, I'll take a book with me, or if I have an appointment of some sort anywhere. But if I'm going somewhere where I know I won't be reading, then I'm not going to take a book with me. like at work I don't have reading time, so I don't take a book to work. I don't take a book when I go grocery shopping, but you know, if I'm going out for the day, then more chance I have a book with me than not. And Kim over at Middle of the Bookmarks actually did a fun video on this recently, because she read an article on you know, reading on the go, and she said that she would pick her handbag or her purse on whether it would fit a book or not. And I definitely agree. I have definitely shopped for handbags and like took a book with me just to try and see if it would fit a book of some sort at least. You know, maybe not a big hardcover, but it has to fit like my e-reader or a small paperback at least. Number 10 is how often do you update your progress on GoodReads. I don't use GoodReads, but I use the story graph. And I try and update it every day, just because I like seeing those graphs where you can see like what days you read more and less, you know, throughout the month. And also you can like keep a streak, which is very motivating for me to like update every day. I've only been doing that since this year, because before I always only updated when I finished the book. So this year I started like doing an update every day at the end of the day. And for now, I think that's fun. I don't know if I will do that forever, but for now, I'm enjoying that. And then lastly, question 11 is who do you tag? And I'll tag the two ladies I've mentioned in this video. So Gemma over at Gem of Books and Kim over at Middle of the Bookmarks. But if you are watching this and you would like to do this tag, I'd say do it anyway. I tag you as well. I thought it was quite a fun little tag, and I love seeing people's answers and see how we have like different reading habits, and also how we are very similar to each other in some ways. Okay, that's it for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video and got to know me a little bit better and my reading habits. I especially love to know what time of day you read the most and how long you read. Do you also time your reading by cups of tea? Just leave any comments down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.